Hello everyone, The Nerdy Steve here, and today we will be featuring a standard Rakdos Sacrifice deck. I'll be talking about the general game plan, about some of the card choices and the sideboard, and then we'll play a couple of matches. A link to the deck is in the description below, so let's go! There are two things we want to acknowledge when we look at this deck, right? And it's going to help inform how you play it. First, it is a very, very aggressive deck. We have, in general, a very, very low mana curve, right? Look, we have tons of 2-drops, 1s, and 3s, and 2 cards that cost 4 more mana, right? So, we know from looking at it that it's very, very aggressive. But, even though it is aggressive and a low mana value deck, it is a deck where you want to be using all of your mana every single turn. We have Deadly Dispute, which we can sacrifice to draw cards and create treasures, but we want to Deadly Dispute into things that we can use that turn, right? We have Bloodtithe Harvester that, can make blood tokens, but we want to use and activate those blood tokens when we can to loot away cards and then draw more action, right? So, while we understand that we want to be aggressive, we want to be attacking with Tenacious Underdog, we want to be activating Oni-Cult and attacking with our 1/1s, and draining our opponent with Meathook Massacre, and using Fable of the Mirror Breaker, it is also very, very important to note that all this aggressive stuff ties together to a bigger synergistic part of the deck, which, I brought up with Meathook Massacre and Oni-Cult. We will be trying to not only attack our opponent with our creatures, we want to be using our creatures and cards as sacrifice fodder for themselves, right? We have Experimental Synthesizer that can create a token, but it also draws a card when it enters the battlefield and when it leaves the battlefield. So we want to use it, hopefully play a card, and then we can Deadly Dispute it away to get more cards, right? We have Oni-Cult, which can sacrifice the Synthesizer to draw a card and to create a 1/1 token. We have Meathook Massacre that when your tokens die, when your Epicure dies, when your Tenacious Underdog dies after you blitz it, it will deal more damage to your opponent, right? We also have Voltage Surge, which again combos with the Experimental Synthesizer, which combos with the Oni-Cult Anvil. So we're dealing damage to our opponent's creatures, we're drawing cards, we're draining our opponent with Meathook, we're draining our opponent with Oni-Cult, and we're drawing hopefully more removal, and just so on and so forth until your opponent dies. We also have the cards that cost 3 or more mana. Fable of the Mirror Breaker, again, it creates 2 creatures that can interact with Meathook Massacre and can be sacrificed to Deadly Dispute. The treasure from the 2/2 token from the first stage of Fable of the Mirror Breaker can be sacrificed to Deadly Dispute, right? You have Ob Nixilis, which you can sacrifice a Tenacious Underdog after you blitz it, or a Bloodtithe Harvester, right? So you're using all of these cards to power out your other cards and hopefully to overwhelm your opponent. And that's kind of the game plan, right? You're not just attacking, you're setting up future turns to be more efficient, to really, really put your opponent into a very, very bad spot where they have no good option, where they're staring down at their board and going, okay, I could do this, but then this will die, and then I'll take damage and I'll drain. So you need to really think a couple of turns ahead and how you can optimize the life loss that you're giving your opponent while also building up your board and using your mana as much as possible. Again, as I stated earlier, our deck has a very, very low mana curve. We are constantly creating treasures, but we will be using our mana much more often than you think, and a lot of times you're going to be like, oh wow, I wish I had a couple more, because then I could kill our opponent. And then for our sideboard, we have more interaction to help us in matchups where maybe Infernal Grasp against aggro decks the 2 life is very, very important. So maybe against white decks, you want Ray of Enfeeblement instead. We have check for traps and duress against the more control decks where your creature interaction isn't as useful or needed. So against, is it combo or different dragon decks, you might need the duress to interact with them, but because they can go over the top of you much more quickly than your slow drain aggressive strategy, right? And then we also have go blank again for the same idea, and so on and so forth. So with that general idea of how to play the deck, let's go play some matches and see how it works. Okay. We have a turn 1 play with the Epicure. Then we can Oni-Cult on turn 2, sacrificing the blood. Creating a 1/1, and then we kind of have our engine going in a way. So this is a pretty good start. It doesn't really get much better than this. Specifically, our opponent didn't do anything turn 1. We need to draw something good. An untapped land would be great. And thank you. So, I'm gonna actually Ob Nixilis with Casualty here. Maybe I'm supposed to Fable, but I think this is gonna put a lot of pressure on our opponent. So, we create a Devil. Yeah. GG. Not really sure what our opponent was playing. So I don't know what to sideboard. Maybe a go blank and taking out Lolth. They seem to be maybe a grindier mid-range deck. So getting rid of the graveyard is going to be good, but I don't really know. Maybe they just had a bad hand. And here we go. Jikaku. This is... I don't love this hand. However, Fable of the Mirror Breaker kind of allows you to keep a lot of very medium hands. Because we get to filter away 2 swamps. And I think that's going to be worth it. And we still have a Voltage Surge to get rid of their Fable token. I don't know. Oh, Duress. No. Not the Duress. Okay. We'll do that. I'm going to hold off on the Synthesizer a little bit to make sure that we can cast whatever we get. And I'm also going to hold off on the blood. I think I kill it now. Okay. So I'll attack for 1. Let's see what we get. Alright. We'll Deadly Dispute the Epicure. We'll hold off on activating it because we want the card from the Synthesizer. Not sure if I should get the 2/2 from it or not. But... Imagine if we were able to discard 2 cards and get 2 more. Well, this is a little bad. Strangle, strangle. Not much we could have done, really. I mean, we could have mulliganed. But mulliganing also just doesn't do any better against a Duress from our opponent, right? Oh, that's really good against us. Yeah, I don't think we can win this. So we'll just... We'll save your time. And now I think we probably want... Do we want Infernal Grasp? Or Duress? I think we want Duress. We can probably get rid of 1 Underdog and 1 Meathook. Probably don't want the Sorin. And maybe another Duress. If Fable is a really, really important card in any deck it's in, and being able to Duress it can really, really mess up people's, again, mulligan decision or how the game plays out. The treasure is really, really important too, so we're going to keep here. We have 3 lands, we have playable cards. Hopefully our opponent does not have a Duress. They could have Strangle, which we will not love. Alright. Come on, Duress. Fable. Beautiful. Yeah, so this Fable really, really messed them up. Or getting rid of it. We have to be wary of our opponent's Meathook, but we're really fine. We love our deck thinning, because we don't want to draw all 20 lands like we did last time. Oni-Cult. There. We will get rid of a Voltage Surge. Oh, Duress. Okay, beautiful. If we can get rid of that Meathook, and our opponent doesn't have double black yet. So that's really nice. The Duresses have been really, really important here. Okay. We'll do that. We get a swamp. We will attack for 1. Duress to see what is going on. Okay. They have Titan. So that's a couple turns away. If our opponent draws... I don't know. So I put a stop during our draw step because normally the game that won't give you priority. And why I'm doing that is I want to see if we drew a Deadly Dispute naturally, or we get one off of the synthesizer. We did not. So I think I want to get rid of these two cards. I want to keep the Fable just in case, or the Infernal Grasp, so we can kill a Titan when it comes down. And we're putting a lot of pressure on our opponent. We want to remember to set another main phase stop for the same reason. Okay. Brendan 7's going to create a big creature. We can discard these two. I don't think we're going to use the Takenuma. Let's Infernal Grasp that.
We did not choose this fight.
We have another Kiki Jiki coming up. And we're not playing our land because we might want to loot. And now, what does our opponent do here? If we activate this... Yeah, GG. Ugh. Good game. Well, we have to mulligan. Get rid of that. Wonder what our opponent is doing. Red, blue, Bankbuster. Not really what I want to see, but what are we gonna do? I think these Teamer control decks are kind of really good against us. I think I want to cast it now. I don't think we're gonna end up being able to wipe our opponent's board. They're going to have a Goldspan Dragon. They're going to have Titan of Industry. I think just getting it on the battlefield is probably important enough. Because our opponent's probably going to go land Goldspan Dragon here, and then we lose. Oh, no? Okay. Happy to be wrong. But this is not looking particularly good. They could have negate here. Yeah. And now we're very, very sad. Our opponent has 6 mana. Yeah, Goldspan. We have to try and kill it now. And they could have counter magic or really anything. But the problem here, right, is they still draw a card from the Bankbuster if they want to. They can still cast anything in their hand if they have it. 4 mana. Fading Hope. Okay. I can't imagine this being good at all. Let's see what we get with the synthesizer. Our opponent has so much mana. No. An actual disaster, everyone. Do they have another Fading Hope? Are they going to activate the Beckoner? Or Bankbuster? Okay, yeah, we lose here. We've seen enough. Alright, that was so brutal. Let's get checked for traps. Grasp. I think we need Duress. Massacre is not fantastic here. And honestly, neither is Ob Nixilis. And we wait. The Timur matchup seems really miserable, by the way. Does not... It is not an easy game. Because again, our deck is like a very... It is an aggro deck in some veins, but it's also a mid-range deck in others. And our mid-range requires us getting to the point where we can get some of our engine going and draining our opponent's life, but they can really interact with you at all stages of the game. And once they get to... If they can Goldspan Dragon on turn 5, you're just so far behind. It's kind of really brutal. What are the odds they have a negate? 100%? So we're going to attack for 1, bring our opponent down to 17. Then we will Ob Nixilis with Casualty. Hoping our opponent doesn't have a Make Disappear or negate. Though they very well could have both. Hopefully they have neither. Oh, they had Disruption. Lovely.
Families call me their adversary. Go ahead. I plead for mercy.
Discarding Coma. Oh, wow. I'm assuming they got a land on top.
Your punishment is my entertainment.
And a Titan of Industry. Okay. Let's see what they have here. Alright, we'll attack. Or do they have a another Fading Hope? Wow. And another card on top. Hate to see it, everyone.
Defy me, and you'll lose everything.
Asika's Chariot? No. Okay, let's do this.
Go ahead. Plead for mercy.
Okay. Sorry, my cat is playing with me. Luigi really wants attention right now. Cinderclasm? Okay. We're fine with that.
Defy me, and you'll lose everything.
Do we get to attack now? We're finally attacking and dealing damage with our underdog, or do you have removal? That would be very upsetting. Oh my god. At least we draw a card now when it dies, right? Iteration? Okay. Let's see what our opponent does here.
By coin or carnage.
I think I'm gonna Oni away the synthesizer. We'll see what our opponent does. They concede. Alright. Alright, we just need our opponent to get mana screwed again. And I don't think that is too much to ask for. So, yeah. Alright, everyone. Come on. Alright. We have a Harvester and a Fable. I would love to have more hand removal here. But, you know, what are you gonna do? Oh, a Disruption? Brutal. Don't get a land. Dang. No green yet, but that can change with literally anything. And Fading Hope, okay. One, two. Wow. If we got a Voldaren Epicure, we would have been able to land in Voltage Surge. which is kind of what we really needed to do there. Because right now, we have a huge problem in that we have no pressure, opponents at 20, and they also have all the mana in the world, right? One Titan of Industry just will ruin us. Fading Hope? Or Dragon's Fire? Okay. What did I say? We'll need a Infernal Grasp, which we can draw. But we need our opponent to not have a negate here, which they will have. No. One, two, three, four, five. So the problem here is I was thinking maybe we can just Meathook and maybe try and kill our opponent, both of their creatures, with a combination of Meathook and a Voltage Surge. Well, they had a negate, so it wouldn't have mattered. But they just activate Hall of the Storm Giants and we lose. Ouch. Close, but no cigar. We needed a Duress a little earlier. And they can activate the hall. So GG. Oh well. Well, thank you for watching me play Black-Red Sacrifice in Standard. It was definitely an experience. I really, really liked the deck. I like how it functioned and flowed. However, there were a lot more losses that I didn't show, and I'm not very proud of that. And that's because I faced an exceptionally high number of decks with Titan of Industry. All of them were the Teamer ramp decks. And a Resolved Titan just feels impossible to beat. And I think if the metagame moves away from Teamer ramp, this deck definitely has a place. But right now, as opposed to the Esper mid-range or the other Naya without Titan, or Jund without Titan, you just, Resolved Titan of Industry is so difficult to beat. And I think that that's a very, very interesting part of the metagame, standard metagame as a whole, and that's really cool and fun. But that type of big trampoline creature that can destroy your important enchantments like Fable, Meathook Massacre, or Oni while gaining life is just, it's everything this deck does not want to see, right? So I would recommend playing it if you have a lot of the cards and you aren't seeing a lot of it on the ladder. But right now, I think it's just not as well positioned as I would like it to have been. And I don't know what you could really do to mitigate that. Maybe adding more check for traps in the main deck and removing Lolth or Sorin to remove your higher end threats that don't do much in that specific matchup and be a little more proactive with that. And that might help. And I probably would add more check for traps in the sideboard, because you need ways, like, I talked about Duress being good against Fable, because you want to kill it before they can cast it. But check for traps also does the same thing, and it can hit the big creatures if your opponent has that and not Fable, or if the big creature would be more problematic than Fable, right? So I hope that makes sense, and I hope you enjoyed watching me get destroyed. I'm sure I didn't have as much fun with it as our opponents, but I still had fun. So with that being said, if you liked what you watched, you should totally hit that like, comment, subscribe, comment, or just comment in general. I also stream live on Twitch at twitch.tv/thenerdysteve. And if you have any recommendations for decks you want to see on the channel or other formats, I'd be more than happy to oblige that. But yeah, I hope you have a wonderful morning, afternoon, or evening wherever you are. And thanks for watching. Bye.